if somebody's saying, I need a little extra help, it's often not that they need a new video, but they need attention. They need that special care. And that's a big signal to me to notice what I want to do about that.
That's Tara Stiles, co-founder of the Strala Yoga membership. Tara is an expert at making her community feel welcomed and keeping her members around for the long term. In this video, she'll share exactly how she makes it happen so you can do it too. Tara, thank you so much for joining me today to talk about your membership. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and what Strala Yoga is?
Sure. Well, I suppose the not humongously long story, because we've been doing this for so long, is my husband Mike and I started a small studio out of his apartment in New York City in 2008. And before that, I was leading yoga, and it grew just by how things grow. A friend would have a good time and bring another friend, and soon we needed a real space. So we did that and eventually started a studio downtown in Soho, closer to my apartment, and moved down there. It's a cooler part of town. and people just started to come. And around the same time, you know, in those 2006, 2007, I was making videos on YouTube just to kind of try to reach my friends back home from Illinois that were having their first, I guess, quarter life crises, like my boyfriend, my girlfriend broke up with me, my back hurts, I'm drinking too much, I'm having these problems. I always saw the internet back then as a chance to meet people that I couldn't meet in the 5-mile radius, but then hopefully someday meet them in real life. So that was starting to happen. People would come for a class or drop in on their vacation to New York or whatever. And we started to have this real kind of online and in-person thing going on. And I remember back then it was like 2010 and thinking, oh, it'd be so cool if we could broadcast these classes at the studio to, you know, people everywhere. But really there was no way, at least no easy way for an individual to do that. It was sort of, you know, live boxing matches were broadcast live, and there'd be the trucks outside with the cables and everything. So that having this online and in person at the same time was always kind of a dream of mine, because I wanted people, really anybody that wanted to be in that room to practice, to be able to be in that room. So I suppose fast forward to when we started with you all, having the online platform that was more feeling like a studio. We always had online, whether it was YouTube, or then we had, obviously, you know, this is way back for some people, but DVDs and then downloads. And we offered our trainings online, sort of one by one on other platforms, things like that. But I never wanted to have something that felt like a studio online as an offering until I felt like we could really make it into a real studio, into a real community, a real feeling. I didn't want to just have some random subscription thing that I wasn't really giving my attention to. So we found you all at the right time.
How much content do you put out per week or per month?
Yes. So I like to do a lot. I mean, I feel, I mean, this sounds so corny, but I feel like it's important to practice every day. And I feel like, I mean, we have this kind of, we say these things and then they become our kind of community support group stuff, but you don't need a rest day from feeling good, from taking care of yourself. So we have a new practice video. I think it's 4 or 5 times a week, just depending. And then we have a live every Saturday if I'm able to do that. And sometimes on Sunday, again, if people are requesting, oh, that was really cool what we did last week, you know, we do this kind of DIY shiatsu and classes, and then people can, obviously with the comments and just communicating with us in general, all the ways you can do it, make requests. So it's really easy, especially working with you all, to put extra lives and classes in there. So we have, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, new classes, sometimes Sunday.
You mentioned your community requests types of videos or practices. Can you talk a little bit about where that feedback comes from and how you act on it?
I suppose that's just initially how I've really thought about doing anything. I have an idea. I mean, my original idea about yoga was, yoga's amazing. Why don't my friends practice? And then kind of getting into those questions a little bit, you know, the misconceptions back then, even now. I think even now for a lot of yoga teachers, we all hear the same thing. I'm not flexible. I can't touch my toes. It's kind of a thing. So there's some folks even that practice with us for a long time. They want to pull in, whether it's their parents or their grandma or their aunt or uncle, and they get excited about a specific problem. They'll say, you know, my aunt or uncle are going through this particular challenge in their life, whether it's a loss or a back pain or a disease or something. And then we try to create something that's helpful for that. And then of course, if one person has a question in a room, even if that room is kind of everybody in the world, more people are having the same question. So I've always seen that as really the only way that I really understand doing things. It still is a kind of ongoing we have hangs too. We have like a hangout we do once a month on Zoom, and then we post it on the app as well, and people can see and get involved and see each other too, which is really cool. And that's another place where people kind of say what's going on with them, and we can all kind of be responsive to each other in the real time. So yeah, kind of love that part of it for sure. But if somebody's saying, oh, I'm really going through this thing, can you pull something out? Oftentimes I can look back at the thousands of classes we have and just send them something. But often it's also nice to create something where I feel like I can be just talking to that person or those group of people that are going through something. But within that, if somebody's saying, I need a little extra help, it's often not that they need a new video, but they need attention. They need that special care. And that's a big signal to me to notice what I want to do about that. And usually it is to give them some special attention. And sometimes it's literally just, I mean, we'll talk to people on the phone too, or send emails and things like that. So sometimes it's not responding with a yoga practice, but a lot of times it is.
That's great. And I'm so excited to dive more into community with you, because this is a really big thing for membership businesses. And it seems like you've got it on lock. Talk to me a little bit more about these hangs that you do monthly.
We started a small, no pressure book club. And I think the first hang was to just hang because I didn't want people to feel like they had to read, the book. But we also talked about this book, The Caretakers. And that was really cool. And so many people came to it, which I had no idea. That was really fun. So it started about the book and about getting together. And it was sort of like many ideas in one. And then it's starting to become, we started it in January. I said, well, let's just do this every month and we'll kind of show up and whoever wants to come can come. And it's been really nice to get together and just for me to see people's faces looking at each other and saying, you live in Malaysia, you live in New York, you live in Canada, you live wherever. And it's not about like, oh, we're such a big community. It's look at all these people who you might never meet in your life, but you might now, which is really cool. And you could go here and call this person and say, we have this thing in common, moving with ease and taking care of yourself. And we can go have a coffee and get together. And to me, that's the coolest thing. It's creating this, it's this real life, real connection. At least that's what community is to me in our way.
I love that. And with the community feature within Uscreen, how do you use that to connect with everyone who's in that Strala community?
Oh, yeah. So I'm super glad that exists because that's for now just become our kind of posting board. And I want to explore a little bit, opening up. You all have different capabilities within that. So I'm trying to play with that a little bit, having different boards for different things. But right now we just have one big board and it's reposting things that are on our website, like the class schedule, things that are coming up. When we have a hang, it's kind of putting it there as something coming up. People can obviously comment, people can write their own posts. So it's really, I am so happy that it's become a sort of Facebook group replacement in a way. And we started a Facebook group for the app and it just felt really like, oh, another place we have to go. Even within our community, not for me being like another thing to do, but we have a Facebook group for everybody who's a Strala guide who wants to connect and say, hey, I'm doing a retreat here. Can you help promote it? And all of these things. So creating another community that community was already automatically going to be in. And there's all of these other people and, a lot of people don't want to be on Facebook. So just moving it there has been a nice place. So I feel like it's a newer place for us and even for people to kind of get used to being there and kind of hanging out and communicating to us and to each other there. But I love it because the internet now is so, noisy and anybody could be walking by and push you in the shoulder, knock you down or whatever, that feeling of like, there's so much going on. And we can have a lot of people practicing together. And there's this kind of beautiful understanding that we're all here to take good care of ourselves. And so everybody's nice. Everybody is polite and without saying, here's our rules and guidelines of interactions, people just are being their best selves because they want to create that for themselves. So I think that's an awesome feature that you all have. And I'm sure other people that work with you all have a similar experience because people are coming to do something. And it's not just, this random internet, behavior that gets out of control.
Absolutely. That's great to hear. And with all that community interaction with comments or posts on the community board, are you the only one who monitors that? How do you keep up with all the comments and seeing what's going on in your community?
Yeah, so I do, and then my husband Mike does as well, and that's nice. And then we have a lot of our guides that are leading their own Strala trainings and classes and things that they'll tell me if I didn't see something, but they also check in with people. So within our community, we have people that have been around longer than some that are kind of, we don't really have a word for them. I think in some fitness businesses, they would, you'd call these people your ambassadors or something, but it's really just, they're all part of our community. We're all sort of doing this together, and they kind of look out for the new people. They kind of look out for everybody as well. So that's been really nice.
If you could go back to right before you launched the membership, what advice would you give to yourself?
Oh my gosh, interesting. So I'm thinking, yeah, have fun. I think it's going to change. It's going to be different. And you're going to also have this fun moment. I mean, even last night I was doing something on the back end, and I looked at a video popped up of Mike teaching something. It was like 2 years ago. It wasn't even that long ago. We were renting this cabin outside of New York City, and he looked so different. Like his clothes were different, his hair was different. I'm like, we've changed so much in 2 years, and just seeing that growth and also being excited to have this almost like a memory book of what you're doing in a way. I think it's having a membership site, having an online place in general is like having a memory book of everything that you're doing and how it feels and how it looks and all the things. And just knowing there is no end point, there's no perfect, there's only what's going on with you and how you can work with what's happening around you, enjoying. And for me, it's about always improving what I'm doing in my practice. And then, just the technical side of things, like it's not that hard to figure out how to make things a little bit better. And there's you guys have so many resources too on equipment and stuff, but we had that all over the years too. So just figuring it out.
Where can people connect with you and Strala Yoga online?
Sure. So me, as you said before, my name is Tara Stiles. So just tarastiles.com is easy. And Strala is stralayoga.com. Everything links to everywhere. The app is Strala Yoga. You guys do a great job of having the app on all the fancy app places that I don't have, but other people seem to have, like the iPhone and the Apple TV and the Roku. And I'm always so impressed when people post a video of them practicing with like their giant television, things like that. I'm always saying like, look, Mom, I'm on TV. It's so exciting.